How much does it cost to start a small business? We're going to talk about the breakdown of the costs, what does it take, and stay all the way to the end because I'm going to share the number one mistake, and it is a painful mistake that you want to consider never getting yourself into. So 3 specific things I'm going to talk about is how much does it cost to get this started? Number 2, which you're going to be really interested in, how do you get some funding and tap into some cash sources so you don't have to use your own money to get started? See, I am not a fan and don't believe that you need money to make money, but boy, does it help. And number 3, I'm going to talk about the business infrastructure. What do you need to have in place as far as systems and team to make sure you can activate getting to money and getting to revenue as fast as you can? So number 1, how much does it cost to start a company? So according to Shopify in 2022, they set up to $40,000. That an average person, a new startup for them, put in $40,000. I think that's a lot. I have started most of my companies as a bootstrapper. I've started with 0. I've created my revenues from nothing, which means I've traded, time or experience or a product or a service. Now, some of you hear that immediately you want to log out of here and say, I'm out. I don't want to trade time. It's just one of the tools in your tool belt. I can tell you, for those of you more sophisticated, the greatest thing that you will eventually ever have to trade at an amazingly high value is your time. If someone was to hire me for just an hour, I'll tell them it's $5,000 because I don't want to do an hour. So I have a whole different value stack. But to start a company, you can do it from nothing. But there are people who really have products and services, and you do need to get a team like technology companies. They can't just start selling technology. They do need to have some startup capital. So 40 isn't ridiculous when you look at that kind of a business. So it depends what you're going to be doing. But let's talk about, let me read you a list of the things that you have to consider in the cost of a startup. The products and raw materials. Right? So depending on what you're going to do you have inventory, supplies, if you're going to get patents, if you're going to get trademarks, if you have intellectual property, you want to get all of that done, copyright. Some of that's going to cost some money. And yes, you could go straight to those organizations and government agencies and get some of it done free. My question to you, is it done right? In those categories, I never do those things myself. I use experts, lawyers typically that will do trademarks, intellectual property, that kind of stuff. So you would need some money to get that started. Other things you're going to need for that cost, you're going to need just getting started. Well, your incorporation, your legal fees. If you're going to need some software, you're going to need QuickBooks or some sort of an accounting software. If you have an online store, you're going to need a website. You're going to need hosting services. You're going to need a URL. You're going to need all of, probably a developer. You're going to need somebody to help you get up and running. You're going to need shipping, packaging, labels. So if you're offline, you have brick and mortar, you're going to need equipment. You're going to need, tables. If you want to buy, desks, chairs, office equipment, you're going to need all that. Team, staff, salaries, potentially benefits, any perks that you want to do, and then just marketing in general, logos, branding, ads, all of those things. I read that because all of that is what it takes. Now, do you have to have all of that before you start? No. I'm going to show you ways, and again, I'm going to give you some tickets to an event where I'm going to show you from nothing in an hour to how to make money. All of you can do it. I've done this since 2007, help people generate cash. We put it in a marketplace and you just make money. Is it a long-term process for a lot of you or a long-term business model? Maybe or maybe not. But what I want you to know and I want you to get is the confidence of making money. So costs are up to you. As far as getting some funding, let's talk about just the basics. So getting incorporated, right? To me, if I had to put a cost structure in front of everything, I'd get incorporated. If I had to prioritize these, I would get incorporated. I'd get my marketing up and running. So you start getting leads in the door, which means you got to get a website, you've got to get a database, and I'd start generating leads so you can get into a sales cycle as fast as you can. If you have just a limited amount of money, those would be my priorities for you on how to use the money once you start. As far as getting funding, in this economy, it's everywhere. Money is everywhere for good businesses. So you do need to get a business plan. Doesn't have to be much, but you're going to have some sort of a plan that you can go to a bunch of funding institutes. So I have 29 banks that we work with that can give 0% interest. You can do just family and friends loans. A lot of people, in fact, that's what the SBA suggests to get started. Get some loans from your friends and family. I personally don't like that one. I don't like the obligation and the oddness of that, the relationship it creates. I'd rather just get the funding from a financial source and get up and running. So 2 other sources that a lot of people don't don't talk about is formal OPM, other people's money. You could do a convertible loan where you ask for 100,000 to get started, or 50,000 or 20,000, whatever your number is based on your plan and what you're going to spend that money on. You do need to show OPM how you're going to spend your money. It's called use of funds. You're going to need that written out, how you're going to spend their 20, 40, or $100,000. And then you could have a 3-year convertible that you have 3 years to get it up and running, and they could either convert to equity and now that money becomes an equity owner, or you just pay them an agreed interest rate and you pay them all their money back once you're up and running. So that's a way to do it. But one that's sitting right in front of you that very few people know is if you have from prior jobs or you have a 401k just that you've been putting money into, you can borrow from a 401k. You can't borrow from a Roth, but you can borrow from a 401k, a solo, and you can borrow up to $50,000 as long as it's paid back within the time frame of your 401k policy rules. So there's a lot of money around, folks. It's everywhere. And I'm going to give you the obvious one. Walk into a small local bank. I remember I did that way back in the day when I needed $500,000 of inventory. I was a master distributor of the Kiyosaki game, and I kept sending my orders into the organization, but then I would give them my buyers. And then they would be building the database on me. I wanted to keep my own database, wanted to keep my own buyer list. So I needed $500,000 to buy cash flow games and Rich Dad Poor Dad inventory, bring it into my own warehouse. So I walked into a traditional small bank in Northern California. I gave them a little bit of a couple-page business plan. I said, this is who I am. I'm a master distributor. Here's my contract. I have the right to sell this. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do game nights. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. This is how much money I make. I remember they first looked at me and they said, you're going to sell games. Like, you are insane. Millions of dollars later, they were happy they gave me that loan. So they gave me a loan for like 5% for $500,000. But obviously they got all my deposits and they made all the money on the money I gave them. So money in traditional lending is not as hard as you think if you have good credit and your corporation has good credit. Now, before we go on, if you have any questions, put it in the comments. And of course, I want you to subscribe. I want you to click that little bell for the notifications. So every morning you're going to get up. We're going to have a little financial literacy and moment together about some topic 5 days a week. And please share this with your friends and family. They need to be in this conversation with you. You can't be out here alone learning this, understanding it. Over time, you're going to learn so much from me that you're going to talk like Greek to them because they'll be like, what are you doing? You talk so differently. It's like, yeah, I'm literate and you're not. So as far as the infrastructure, what I mean by that is having your company set up, any business licenses or anything that you need, your bank account set up, your DBAs if you need them so the bank can actually accept your money, Stripe accounts, credit card accounts, PayPal accounts, however you're going to transact, have that all set. One that a lot of people forget is you forget to go get corporate credit. The minute you open that entity, get your corporate credit up so you personally don't have to be on your business credit cards or any loans. Get your business standing by itself as its own entity independently and a solid view from financial institutes. 2 other systems that are critical, I think, to your infrastructure, and too many people forget them. And again, this is the number one mistake. They don't get even just a basic landing page and a database. Bob Proctor told me when I was 21 years old, get a database, young lady. Whoever has the biggest monetized database is going to win. I didn't know what the heck he meant when I was 21 years old. Decades later, I know exactly what he means. Hundreds of thousands of people, you have their name, their phone number, their information, and you can have a conversation with them. You can, have a relationship with them. You can sell them things and you can track them. They track you. And my gosh, right now AI is so high that if you don't have any information on your clients, you're out there operating blind. So why even start a business? Because the cost to doing it will be so much higher if you don't do it right. So get that infrastructure set, get your URL, get your database, get that all set up. Don't forget your QuickBooks or some sort of an accounting system. Do not use an Excel spreadsheet, please. So what I want you to do right now, as you get your business started, I want you to click on a link. It's going to take you to a personality quiz. We're going to find out who you are financially. It's going to be followed by an application. Somebody that is senior from my team is going to call you, talk to you about how we can help you get started in business. And more importantly, I'm going to add 2 tickets to that marketplace. I want you to make money fast. I'm going to show you how to make it in a few hours. Talk to you tomorrow.